Hello, you're kicking off the Sunday's edition of QPVN English News Bulletin with Milinchi and the gun headlines. Defense Minister Phan Van Giang attends 22nd Shangri-La dialogue and silent meetings. On May 31st, the 22nd Shangri-La dialogue convened its plenary sessions. General Phan Van Giang, Minister of National Defense, delivered a keynote address during the second plenary session, themed Ensuring Stability in a Competitive World. His speech captured the spotlight among delegates, speakers, and international observers. It is remarked Minister Phan Van Giang outlined the key proposals to promote global stability in a competitive world. Below is the full context of the minister's speech.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, please allow me to express my sincere appreciation to the Ministry of Defense of Singapore and the International Institute for Strategic Studies for inviting me to the 22nd Shangri-La dialogue. This dialogue has rightfully earned its reputation as one of the world's leading multilateral security forums. I'm honored to have the opportunity to share with you my viewpoint on the theme, Ensuring Stability in a Competitive World, a subject of great relevance in today's fast-changing and complex international landscape. Distinguished delegates, we are witnessing profound and powerful transformation across the globe, while peace, cooperation, and development continue to represent the prevailing trend. It is now interwoven with uncertainties and challenges. The Asia-Pacific and Indian Ocean remain regions with dynamic development. At the same time, the fourth industrial revolution, driven by breakthrough advances in science and technology, particularly artificial intelligence, is opening up vast opportunities for development and for collaborative responses to security threats and global issues. The world is confronting unprecedented difficulties and challenges since the end of the Cold War. Strategic rivalry among major powers has been intensifying, with scope and depth expanded and becoming increasingly adversarial, where the risks of arms races and potential military conflicts has become fiercer. Furthermore, the re-emergence of power politics and narrow nationalism is challenging the foundations of international law, eroding the effectiveness of multilateral institutions, and undermining global trust in cooperation. The convergence of traditional and non-traditional security challenges is exacerbating the threat of multidimensional and polymorphic crises, posing potential threats to security and development of affected countries. Flashpoints around the world continue to evolve in an increasingly complex way, while non-traditional security challenges are also becoming more intricate. Climate change, natural disasters, epidemics, resource depletion, and population aging are threatening to reserve the progress toward the goals outlined in the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. A clear testament to the severe impacts of natural disasters is the tremendous loss of life and property caused by the earthquake that struck Myanmar and Thailand in the end of March 2025. On this occasion, allow me to express my deepest condolences. I fully believe that with the efforts of governments and people, along with the support of the international community, the reconstruction of the affected areas will be carried out effectively, helping to quickly stabilize the lives of the people. Vietnam, along with other peace-loving nations around the world, is currently enjoying a life of peace, prosperity, and happiness, confidently advancing into a new era of development and growth. However, in reality, peace and stability remain a burning aspiration in many parts of the world. Regions where conflicts and wars are occurring are ongoing, threatening and taking human lives as well as peace and happiness of the people. Ensuring stability in a competitive world is a fundamental and indispensable condition for building a peaceful, stable, cooperative, and prosperous world for the common interests of all nations and peoples. At the same time, it is an urgent requirement of our time. Therefore, to ensure stability in a competitive world, I believe we must focus on the following key issues. First and foremost, it is vital to uphold the UN Charter and international law, respect sovereignty, equality, and legitimate interests of all nations, large or small. These principles should guide international conduct and dispute resolution. Unilateral actions or coercion only breed mistrust and hinder efforts to tackle shared security challenges. To maintain international peace and security and foster friendly relations among nations, the United Nations Charter clearly outlines fundamental principles: resolving international disputes by peaceful means and refraining from the threat or use of force in international relations. As you may know, these are also core principles in Vietnam's foreign policy of independence and self-reliance, as well as our foreign defense policy. Regarding the East Sea or South China Sea issues, Vietnam consistently and resolutely settles on disputes by peaceful means in accordance with the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, fully and effectively implements the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Sea, and aspires to soon conclude an effective and substantive code of conduct in the East Sea. These efforts aim to help maintain peace, stability, security, safety, and freedom of navigation and overflight in the waters. Second, there must be goodwill and a need for stability to cooperate and develop together. Countries need to have goodwill in their relations and cooperation. Without goodwill, suspicion and misunderstanding can easily arise, and simple problems can become complicated. With goodwill, we can transform great issues into significant issues into minor issues, and minor issues into non-issues, and complex issues can also be openly discussed, satisfactorily negotiated, and simply resolved. This is also the motive of our great President Ho Chi Minh. To gain goodwill, it is necessary to build and strengthen strategic and political trust. There must be no suspicion or misunderstanding to avoid the risk of wrong strategic calculations, and action thus will need to be open, sincere, and transparent. I believe that when countries share transparently about their defense policies and guidelines, we will have trust and goodwill. Then complex issues can be resolved by peaceful means. Third, countries should promote constructive dialogue, share perspectives, ensure healthy competition, and develop and implement practical, effective cooperation mechanisms, both bilateral and multilateral. The Beijing-Xiangshan Forum, the Moscow International Security Conference, the Munich Security Conference, and many other security and defense forums in the world are truly forums of strategic significance, creating opportunities for us to share views, exchange, and dialogue to become closer, more connected, and understand each other better, thereby enhancing trust and more substantive and effective cooperation. As you all know, competition for survival and development is an objective necessity, and from a positive perspective, it is also the driving force for development. The issue is how to compete healthily, respecting mutual interests, not because of strength or weakness, winning or losing, not because of submission, competing for benefits, but by surrounding, restraining, and harming each other, because that will inevitably lead to tension, confrontation, and conflict, and it will be difficult to ensure sustainable peace and stability. The world and regions currently have many cooperation mechanisms. In the future, cooperation mechanisms might be expanded and established. The important issue is to harmonize cooperation mechanisms, avoid conflicts or contradictions between mechanisms, and ensure that all mechanisms are directed towards the common goal of contributing to promoting cooperation for mutual development, bringing practical benefits to participating parties without harming the legitimate interests of other countries, contributing to building a peaceful, stable, developed, and prosperous world and region. In its foreign policy, Vietnam is always ready to participate in, support mechanisms, and be a responsible member for the purpose of maintaining stability and cooperation for mutual development. In the Asia-Pacific region, ASEAN currently plays a central role in the evolving regional security architecture. Vietnam is always committed to promoting its role as a responsible and active member of ASEAN for the legitimate national interests and at the same time wishes to actively contribute to ensuring peace, stability, and common development. Vietnam hopes that countries will support efforts to promote ASEAN's central role, enhance its capacity for self-reliance, and contribute to peace, security, and prosperity in the region and the world. Fourth, international cooperation must be strengthened to address non-traditional security challenges. In recent years, while traditional security challenges have not been eliminated and some places have even become more complicated, non-traditional security challenges are emerging, becoming increasingly complex and difficult to predict. We cannot forget the COVID-19 pandemic, disaster, or non-traditional security challenges such as natural disasters, epidemics, climate change, water security, food security, terrorism, drug crimes, human trafficking, which are posing an urgent need for cooperation and joint response from the entire international community. International cooperation in addressing non-traditional security issues also has a positive impact on cooperation in addressing traditional security challenges. Fifth, the Vietnamese Ministry of National Defense always has goodwill, desire, and actively and responsibly participates in initiatives and mechanisms for substantive and effective cooperation with militaries of national defense and militaries of other countries to promote cooperation and dialogue in the spirit of rule of law, respect for differences, unity in diversity, for stability, peace, security, and prosperity in the region and the world. Vietnam steadfastly pursues an independent foreign policy by proactively expanding and diversifying its external relations. Vietnam is a trusted friend, a reliable partner, and a responsible member of the international community. Vietnam also actively integrates deeply into the international community, contributing effectively to the world political situation, global economy, and human civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, this year, Vietnam marks 50 years of national reunification and 80 years of National Day. As a nation that has endured great pain and losses from war, Vietnam deeply understands the value of peace, stability, cooperation, and development. Vietnam earnestly hopes to work with the international community to build a peaceful, prosperous, united, and cooperative world. Let us do all we can today, not only to leave a better world for future generations, but also to earn their admiration and trust in our sense of responsibility and wisdom. Thank you for your attention.
On the sidelines of the 22nd SHANGRI-LA Dialogue, General Phan Van Gia, Minister of National Defense, held bilateral meetings with the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Minister of Defense of New Zealand, Minister for Defense of Singapore, and Director General and Chief Executive of the International Institute for Strategic Studies, the organizer of the SHANGRI-LA Dialogue.
During the meeting with U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the two sides noted the recent positive progress in Vietnam-U.S. defense relations, which have yielded practical outcomes in various areas, including delegation exchanges, consultation, and dialogue mechanisms. Mr. Phan Van Gia proposed both countries enhance coordination in implementing meaningful cooperative activities in celebration of the 30th anniversary of the normalization of the Vietnam-U.S. relations in 2025. At its meeting with New Zealand Minister of Defense Judith Collins, both sides agreed to further strengthen bilateral defense cooperation and expand cooperation in emerging areas such as cybersecurity, military medicine, and defense industry. Minister Collins reaffirmed that Vietnam remains a priority partner for New Zealand in the Southeast Asia region. At the working session with Singapore's Minister for Defense Chan Chun Sing, both sides expressed satisfaction with the results of the region bilateral defense cooperation. They agreed to continue promoting high-level delegation exchanges, maintain the effectiveness of existing dialogue mechanisms, and consider the establishment of a bilateral air force consultation framework. Meeting with Dr. Bastian Gergerich, Director General and Chief Executive of IISS, Mr. Phan Van Giang reiterated Vietnam's consistent and active engagement with Shangri-La dialogue over the past 2 decades. Dr. Gergerich spoke highly of Vietnam's role and voice and expressed interest in further strengthening cooperation with the Ministry of National Defense of Vietnam in the future.
It is the end of the English News Bulletin today. You can watch the news again at QPVN.vn. And goodbye and see you next time.